everybody, it's Sky here and welcome to my channel. As you already know by the description and thumbnail of this video, I finished Inktober. It was actually my first year participating in Inktober, and I followed Jake Parker's official prompts, which I was glad that I did. With the prompts, I did find that it was a little challenging sometimes to follow the prompts, but they were like a godsend on days where you wouldn't have known what to color or what to draw or didn't feel like drawing. So I was fairly happy that I followed those prompts. Another thing I did to make Inktober easier for me is I actually used a Canson mixed media journal for my paper, and I cut the paper into 4 pieces just to create some smaller paper to do my Inktober's on. And I did that just so I had a better chance of actually completing the challenge, because I know that if I was using like a normal sized paper or anywhere close to that, there is no way I would have been able to complete this. I just have way too much on my hands, especially this time of year. So I tried to help myself out as much as I could to ensure that I was able to complete this challenge. And if any of you feel like that's cheating, well, I guess that's your opinion, and of course you're entitled to it, but I feel like when it comes to any kind of challenge, if you can make it easier for yourself, then you should. And Inktober isn't really a rule that you have to do it a certain way. As long as you're drawing every day, inking every day, and posting your pictures every day, that's what you're supposed to do. And I mean, even if you miss a day, who cares? It's not that big of a deal. So congratulations to anybody else watching this that completed Inktober. I did color my images mostly with Darren ink tints. Because they're ink and they're new to me, so I'm still practicing with them, and I figured Inktober would be a perfect way to do that. I also don't really ink much. I draw a little bit, but I usually never ink my drawings, so the whole concept of that was entirely new to me as well. And then one other thing I kind of challenged myself to do was kind of make sure I had one element in each image that I could use my Wink of Stella pen to just kind of glitter up. And I do have to say that I probably will not buy another Wink of Stella pen because they are so expensive, and I feel like you do not get enough for that price. And somebody in a Facebook group told me that they found a kind of hack for adding glitter aspects to images in the color effects book, and that is to use clear nail polish. So once my Wink of Stella pen is out, that's what I'm gonna do, because it's way cheaper and you get way more for the price. So anyways, let's start off here. So day 1, the prompt was Swift, so I thought of a little fox, and you know, I drew him kind of small, so then I went in and added this butterfly in there, and then I also decided to use watercolors for the background, and I'm really not sure why I did that, because I absolutely don't like it. I wish I could just kind of like take that much out of the picture. But I was really happy with this. I had troubles drawing the fox's eyes, so I just put a little butterfly on his nose to kind of cover his face. And that was my little hack to make it a little bit easier for myself. And the glittery aspect here is the butterflies. Day 2 is divided, which made me think of a highway, and I wanted to make it look a little bit more interesting, so I kind of put a blob splatter on each side. For the first week of Inktober, I was using Sharpies and my Darren ink tints, and then just a Posca pen and my Wink of Stella pen, which I used on the little division lines on the highway and glittered them up a little bit. Day 3 was Poison, and I knew instantly what I was going to do when I saw that one, because I absolutely love drawing alchemy bottles, so of course I had to do a potion of poison. And I was really happy with this, especially the translucent effect of the bottle where you can see through it towards the background. I was super happy about that. I would have never been able to do that with colored pencil, or I probably could have, but it would have taken me ages. So I have to say I am loving these Darren Inktense pencils. And the glittery aspect here is the bubbles. Sorry if I'm talking fast, there's a lot of pictures and I kind of want to explain a little bit about them all and get through this fairly quick. So day 4, the word was underwater, and Just noticed that I've got this little bubble here that I forgot, so it makes the writing look funny. So I decided to draw a mermaid, and again I struggle with eyes, so I used her hair to kind of cover her eyes so you can't see it. I did use a reference picture on this one, mostly for her tail, because I didn't want just a normal average tail. And the glitter aspect in this is her tail, and her shirt, and her necklace. Day 5, the word was long, and that made me think of Littlefoot, who has a long neck, and Littlefoot looks a lot like Barney in this picture color-wise, and I really don't like it. I did not have the colors to kind of make him actually look like Littlefoot, so this picture actually really bothers me. So the glitter aspect is the sun, and we are going to move on. So day 6 was actually sword, but when I looked at my picture with all the prompts written down, I must have looked at the wrong one. Is this actually even day 6? That is too. So I wrote the right day, but the wrong prompt. So the word was sword, which made me think of Sword in the Stone. Now my OCD is bothering me because that's not right. Sorry, that camera kind of shifted here. Bear with me, guys. Okay, we'll just leave it like that. So I actually used a reference picture for this one too. Oh, and I used a reference picture for Littlefoot. I'm gonna have to get used to saying that. All my reference pictures will probably be at the end or just right after showing the images. So I drew this scene from Sword in the Stone, and my glittery aspect was the light that comes down every time he touched the sword. Day 7, the word was shy, and I automatically knew that I wanted to kind of draw this geeky girl clutching a book, and I was super happy and proud with this. The only reference I used was for her hair, and even then I didn't completely follow the picture. I kind of just used it to look at, but kind of did my own thing with it, which I was really happy about. And then I also kind of did this ink blob border just to kind of give her a little bit something more to the background. And the glittery aspect here is this little greenish blue border around her, and then her wristband and her glasses. Day 8, the word was crooked, which made me think of the Grinch, and this is actually where I got my bottle of ink and my pigment liners. Also, just quickly going back to this one, this was my week 1 showcase, so there's a video available if you guys would like to go and watch me come up with this picture. So anyways, the Grinch. I absolutely love this one. I used a reference for this too. It didn't include the bag, it just had him standing there like this. And I do have to say that I actually like the way that mine turned out better, especially his face. You'll see what I mean when you see the reference. The reference picture, his face is kind of scrunched up. But here I feel like it actually looks a little bit more like him, which I was really happy with. And then I just kind of did a splattered background, which kind of reminds me of a cow, but I think it really fits. I look at it kind of like black snow or something. And then the glittery aspect here is the little scale that shows you that his heart is 3 sizes too small. Day 9, the word was screech, and I just did a little owl that was inspired by a painting I did a while back of 2 little silhouetted doves on a tree in front of the moon. And the moon is the glittery aspect in this one. Day 10, the prompt was gigantic, so I automatically knew that I wanted to draw the giant from Clash of Clans because those are my favorite. I don't play much anymore. Actually, I don't really play at all anymore, but this was a really good game. I had a lot of fun with it. So to kind of make him look gigantic, I made him a little bit bigger than the castle. Technically, he looks smaller, but if he was standing right beside it, he'd be bigger. And then I used some skeletons and a skeleton trap guy to kind of scale him up and make him look even bigger. And then I used the Wink of Stella pen on his belt, the skeleton swords, and the water. Day 11, the prompt was run, and I absolutely love this one too. I used a reference for her wedding dress, and technically a reference of hair that I drew in a book as references a long time ago, so I'm not sure if I can find that one. But one of the reasons why I love this one so much is it's kind of a double whammy in regards to the prompt, because not only is her mascara running, which was my original thought, But thinking about it after I'd completed it, there's also a runaway groom that's missing, which is why she's crying. So I just completely love how she turned out. I absolutely love the beach scene, the background, just everything about this is just super appealing to me. And I was really proud of being able to get the fabric to kind of look white but still see-through. And the fabric is what I made glitter in this image as well. Day 12, the prompt was shattered, and I automatically knew what I was going to do for this one too. This was inspired by KattValk, who is the one that I had originally seen do this. I'm not saying she did originally do this, she's just the first one that I seen that did this. And that was to kind of cut up an image and make it look shattered. So once I read that prompt, I knew that I wanted to draw a girl looking in a mirror and then make it look shattered, like she's looking in a shattered mirror. So since she's looking in a mirror, I decided to do the whole thing glittery, just to kind of make it kind of look reflective. This was also my week 2 showcase, so there's a video on this as well if you'd like to go watch it. And I believe I did use a reference for her hair. Day 13, the word was teeming, and I absolutely hated this one because all I could think of was minnows. And of course, if you look up the word teeming on Google, all it comes up with is fish too, which really wasn't helpful. So I looked up teeming drawings, and I came across this fellow's, it's almost like a cartoony drawing, like kind of like one you'd see in a newspaper maybe. I can't remember his name, of course I'll include the reference at the end of the video. But he had this really sketchy drawing of a bunch of Grim Reapers crowding the streets, and I absolutely fell in love with the idea. So I decided to kind of do my own take at it and kind of do a double exposure where there is a Grim Reaper with a Grim Reaper hotel inside of him. I'm not sure if I really conveyed that or not. It's a little bit confusing. You can't really tell that the image on the outside is a Grim Reaper, and I really regret putting in this sinister smile that actually kind of looks goofy. I wish I would have just left it how it was, but again, a learning experience. Sometimes less is more. So day 14, the word was fierce, so I drew this scene from The Lion King. I used a reference for this image as well, but this one was kind of fun to do because the image kind of cut off here and here, so I kind of had to fill in the gaps to make the full scene that I wanted. And I know that this is Simba, but for the life of me, I cannot remember her name. I keep wanting to say Nala, but I'm pretty sure Nala was... Sorry, this isn't Simba, this is Mufasa. Isn't it? No, this is Simba. Maybe it is Simba and Nala. I'm so confused. I really have to look this up or watch this movie again. If you guys know, let me know in the comments, although I'll probably look it up as soon as I'm done filming this. But anyways, I was super happy with that, and then the glittery aspect here was their eyes and teeth. Okay. Day 15, the word was mysterious, and I had originally wanted to do the detective's face looking in the magnifying glass, but it just wasn't a good drawing day, and so I just kind of did his hand holding the magnifying glass. I kept it super simple because I didn't have much time, and then the whole magnifying glass was the glittery aspect here. Day 16, the word was fat, which made me think of a fat cat, because those are my absolute favorite kinds of cats. Love all cats as long as they're fat. I'm not kidding either. Just fat. There's something about cuddling a fat cat. It's just the best. I don't know why. It's probably weird, but it's true. So this was actually inspired by, I want to say Skech Art is his YouTube name, and he actually does spray paint art, which is super awesome. I'll try to link videos and channels and stuff in the description as well, so be sure to check that out for lots of cool stuff. The glittery aspects here are the moons and then this big star. Day 17, the word was graceful, which made me think of a ballerina, and I did not use a reference picture at all for this, so I was super proud of being able to get her posture pretty much perfect for me. This is perfect compared to my usual, especially her legs crossing. I feel like I did a really good job with that, so I was really proud. At this point, I was really noticing that drawing was coming a little bit easier for me, so it's amazing what happens when you do draw every day. I was also really proud of this crowd that I drew in here. I didn't want them to have faces or anything, I just wanted it to look like a silhouette of clouds, kind of like you're looking from her point of view, because the lights would be in your face, of course. So I was really happy with that too. The glittery aspect is her outfit and the lights at the top, and then I also have some gold accents on the curtains and on her dress. Day 18, the word was filthy. I believe I also used a reference for drawing Oscar, and then I kind of placed him on kind of a city scene, just because, I don't know, I just wanted to do a city scene, a city scene, so I incorporated him in there. And the glittery aspect here are the lights, and then I have some glows coming down on Oscar. They don't really show up though. It's another problem I have with the Wink of Stella pen. You think if you pay like $9 for a pen, you really want it to show up, but on lighter colors, it really doesn't. So day 19, the prompt was cloud, which made me think of the saying, head in the clouds. So I drew a farmer boy with his head literally in the clouds, and I didn't use a reference picture for this one either. I drew him completely from my mind, which I was super proud of because he turned out pretty good, minus his hands. I have a little bit problem with that, but I just pretend he's wearing gloves, so it's all good. And the glittery aspect here are the clouds and the sun. Day 20, the prompt was deep, and I didn't have much time for this one. I think we went to the city that day, and we were out pretty much all day, didn't come home till super late, and I was super tired. I did not want to draw, so I just sketched out a quick, simple image of an underwater scene. And my glittery aspect here is the jellyfish. Day 21 was Furious. I used a reference picture for this one, and this is Anger from Inside Out. I drew this guy because he is one of my favorite characters from that movie. He kind of reminds me of my husband, who has a bit of a temper, and you know, he's just super, I don't know, he's just got the same personality sometimes as Anger, especially his road rage. Oh my gosh, it's kind of funny. It's scary, but it's funny. And the glittery aspect here is his hair, which is the flames. Day 22, the word was trail, and I wasn't really happy with this prompt either. I mean, I'm happy with the picture, but I wasn't very inspired by this prompt, and so eventually I just kind of decided to go with something super simple that really, when I think about it, wasn't that simple. It took me a long time to draw out all these trees, and I was super proud of how I actually made it so they look closer and like they're getting farther, to kind of create that depth, like it's really far going that way. And I just love how this image doesn't look flat. And I actually made the glimmery aspect the trail, which I kind of made it look like it's covered in snow and ice. Day 23, the prompt was juicy, and again, this was just not a good drawing day. I was not inspired at all by this prompt, so I decided to go with something super simple, which was a pack of juicy fruit, which I kind of glammed up the writing on, and I also smudged a little bit of blue there, so I really don't like this one. But hey, I did a picture that day, and that's all that matters. So 24, I followed a tutorial on how to draw faces by Christina Lorre. I hope I'm saying her name right. I will put her channel and link to the video I watched in the description. And this is where I kind of started doing that little bit of pop of color and working a little bit more with the ink. So the word was blind, and I kind of went with the saying blinded by love, which kind of made me think of rose-colored glasses. So I drew this girl wearing rose-colored glasses. She's kind of blinded by her crush or whatever. And I'm fairly happy with how this turned out. I do wish that I had tested my ink before attempting her skin. I actually started coloring in right here and then realized it was way darker than I wanted and kind of hesitated, which is why I have these little spots here that aren't really blended in. So yeah, I definitely learned my lesson on that, and I constantly checked my ink after that happened. So the glittery aspect here is her glasses. Day 25, the prompt was ship, and I used a reference for this one as well, and then decided to kind of do a background and some interesting looking water. I think that's the best water I've done so far. I kind of wanted it to look a little choppy and not so even. And I'm really proud of the color palette in this, all the warm tones without it being too powerful. I just love how simple this one is. And the glittery aspect here is actually the water. Day 26, the prompt was squeak, and I had originally thought of a mouse because I'm pretty sure almost everybody thought of a mouse off the bat. But I decided to go a little out of the box, and I did a monster walking into a boy's room, and it's actually the floorboards that are squeaking. So I was super happy with this one as well. Again, I used a lot of ink for this and then just a little pop of color, which was the yellow and then the red. And I was really proud of this one too, with being able to put in the yellow highlights coming in from the door. If I could change one thing about this, it would be that I would have moved the shadow maybe over a little bit, just to kind of make it not look so flat, because I'm pretty sure that's not how the shadow would have looked in real life. Not that this is really real life, but you know what I mean. Day 27, the prompt was climb, and I am so proud of this one. This one is one of my absolute favorites. This came completely from my head, and I'm just so proud of his posture and just how the cliffs turned out and just the whole picture in general. I think my inking on this one worked out really good. I was definitely starting to get the hang of it by this point, and I was just really proud that pretty much exactly what I had in my head came out onto the paper. So this guy is climbing up trying to get to the castle. I don't know if he's trying to get to a princess or just exploring or who knows. And I decided to create these waterfalls coming out of the cliff to kind of add a little bit more interest, which are my colored aspect and my glitter aspect. So super proud of this one. Day 28, the word was fall, and this one didn't really speak to me either. I wasn't really inspired by this until I watched one of KattValk's videos that she's recently posted. And in her video, she did a couple jack-o'-lanterns with a bunch of black cats around, and then a somewhat similar background, I believe. So I decided to kind of go along with her same style in regards to that. I did just normal pumpkins though, and then just one little cat amongst them, as well as adding in a tree just to give the background a little more detail, and a super neat moon. I'm not sure where I've seen that before, but I just envisioned that in my head and I thought it would be perfect. And the moon is actually my glitter aspect, but I absolutely love the pop of color with the pumpkins. It's so bright and so Halloween-y. This was probably one of my least favorite prompts, and it's probably one of my favorites. So day 29, the word was united, which was another prompt that I didn't really like because the only things I could kind of think of was like the United States and United Airlines, both of which I didn't really want to draw because they're a little basic. No offense to you people in the US. I'm not saying the US itself is basic. I mean, a drawing of the US is kind of basic. I wanted to go a little bit more out of the box. So eventually I seen one of my friends posted the Corpse Bride characters and their marriage. And I figured marriage would be a good a way to, what's the word I'm looking for? Convey the word united. So I decided to take the cliff from A Nightmare Before Christmas and put my married couple up on top of it in front of a moon, and then I just decided to add a cherry blossom tree in there for a little bit of extra detail and also for my pop of color. And then I had just some cherry blossoms and some hearts blowing in the wind, and the cherry blossom tree was also my glitter aspect, and I'm actually really happy with this one. Day 30, the word was found. I followed another tutorial by Christina Lorre for drawing a face in side view, and I'm really happy with this one as well. She finds herself a little butterfly friend that lands on her nose, and I thought it was just super cute. I love the gold details that I did. I'm not 100% sure on her lips, but I think it kind of suits the image. And the butterfly is the glittery aspect here. And finally, day 31, the prompt was mask. So I drew this girl with a masquerade mask on, and just a really pretty hairstyle with a little tiara that kind of reminds me of Sleeping Beauty's tiara. I did watch a video on the hair, on how to draw it. I will link that in the description, as well as the channel from the gentleman who made it. And the tiara is my glittery aspect. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed my Inktober for this year, and I'm already super excited for next year. For anybody wondering, this was just a little notebook from the dollar store. Not very Halloween-y, but it's the best I could do. So, I hope you guys feel free to go and watch any of my other videos for Inktober. I didn't comment on my other showcases though. I actually think that this was showcase number 3, and my monster, I believe, was showcase number 4. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure those are the other showcases I forgot to mention. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you hopefully in my next video. Okay, bye guys.